Namaste, ChristianRLong, Life Enhancement Consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Sunday evening, 7:30 p.m. Mountain Time here in Denver, Colorado. And this is going to be, Jen, Namaste, long time, hope you're well. This is going to be a very extensive, thorough stream that I've spent actually some time planning out. As you guys know, we do streams pretty regularly, almost every single day of the year. And I was gone for the 21-day spiritual vacation in Bovina, New York. Brittany, Namaste, and I wanted to jump on and share with you some of the lessons and realizations that I had over the past 21 days. Shelly, Namaste, welcome, welcome, welcome. So sit down, grab a bag of popcorn. What do you eat with popcorn? So a LaCroix or a soda, get some popcorn. Soon, Namaste. And this is going to be an extensive video on the 21-day spiritual vacation. So feel free, ask as many questions as you want along the way, and I'm going to be covering the 21 lessons and realizations on the 21-day spiritual vacation. So the first question is, what is the 21-day spiritual vacation? What is this all about, right? So this year is the 11th year that the 21-day spiritual vacation has been happening at the MCKS Meditation Center in Bovina, New York. Now, if you've ever been to Bovina, good to see you as well. If you've ever been to Bovina, New York, it's an old cow town. It's in upstate New York. It's about 45 minutes from Woodstock, where the famous Woodstock Festival happened in 1969, where 500,000 people got together to listen to the biggest, greatest band of that time, for the purpose of awakening consciousness within the country and throughout the world. So the intentions were good, but it kind of worked out a little bit differently than they expected. So as part of the trip, I actually was in Woodstock, and I got to run into some hippies that I still think are stuck in the 1969 era. So anyways, the MCKS ashram, if I remember correctly, was inaugurated in 2006. And Grandmaster Chola Koksui, the modern founder of pranic healing, came to the ashram, and he blessed this space of 70 acres in the Catskills for 350 years, that the blessings of future classes, future students would come to this area for the purpose of spiritually growing and evolving. And over the past 13 years, it has been a safe place for people to go, to take higher classes within pranic healing, to go have deeper meditation experiences, purifications, what have you. So originally, these vacations started off as 9 days. So you would basically go there for 9 days. You would sleep in the chakra house, you'd sleep in the main house, or you'd sleep outside in a tent. And people were having such great experiences doing these events that they said, you know what? One of the regular participants said, hey, next year, can we extend it to go from 9 days to 21 days? Is that possible? And then that's when the 21-day spiritual vacation was born. And the format of the 9-day and the 21 days are pretty similar to one another for this year anyways. So each and every person has the opportunity of getting up at 7 o'clock in the morning and practicing an hour's worth of yoga that is led by either a qualified yoga instructor or a video of a qualified yoga instructor. James, Namaste, longtime friend from back in the day, back in Massachusetts. So that's kind of the layout, right? So you have the opportunity of doing yoga at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then around 8:30 we start our physical exercises, which is rather extensive. Then we do our breathing exercises, and then we go into one of the 2 ponds that is on the property that has been blessed, and we do water purification by water, which basically we all go into the water together and we do certain spiritual practices to cleanse our energy body. And that takes anywhere from about 30 minutes or so. And then we get out, Prashant, Namaste, we get out of the pond, and the pond is beautiful. Like, it's beautiful. Yana, Namaste, spending even 5 minutes just swimming around in the pond, not even doing any spiritual practices, you come out and you're like, you feel like 1,000 pounds lighter. It's a beautiful experience. So, Then we go, we clean up, we get our acts together, and then we join Master Marilag Mendoza for the 21-day gratitude healing. So that happened every single day of the 21-day spiritual vacation. Patty Atma Namaste at 10 o'clock. From 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock a.m., we would be sitting there physically, and then she would also have her laptop up, and she would be connecting with people all over the world who would be participating in this online event. And it was beautiful. It was the highlight of each and every person's 21-day spiritual vacation, or the 9-day. People came for the 9-day and then left, and then other people stayed for the 21-day. All in all, on the 9-day, we had about 100 people, including the kitchen staff and some of the children, so actually over 100 people. And then when we went from the 9-day to the 21-day, we had about 20 or 23 people, including the kitchen staff, that were on board. And then we break for lunch, or we have a break, then we break for lunch, usually an hour and a half to 2 hours. And then we will come back and we studied the Gita, the Bhagavad Gita. And every 9-day and 21-day is different, so the focus for this year was studying the Bhagavad Gita, and Master Glenn Mendoza, or Dr. Glenn, was the one facilitating that. Also, before we would go to lunch, we would do our Hatha Yoga meditation. So one of the qualifiers to attend the 9-day or the 21-day spiritual vacation is to be an Arhatic Yogi, which means you have to take basic pranic healing, advanced pranic healing, and psychotherapy pranic healing, those 3 classes, then take Arhatic Yoga, and then that qualifies you to take the 9-day or the 21-day. And then after we do our meditations, we have our lunch, then we come back, we study the Gita, and then we would do another meditation, more physical exercises, we'd have another break, we would learn something else, we'd have dinner, and then we would have some event taking place in the evening. It would be maybe a video of Grandmaster Cho Koksui talking about a certain spiritual concept. Maybe it would be a certain fun activity. One of the activities we do each and every year at the 9-day is called the No Talent Show, where every person has the opportunity to go up on stage and to present something that they think they're good at doing. Whatever it is, singing, dancing, juggling, fire spinning, whatever it is that they, Destiny, Abba Namaste, whatever it is that they believe they're good at, Becca, Abba Namaste. And so it's called the No Talent Show as a joke, right? Because everyone's accepted. And then we retire to our bed anywhere from 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, and then certain people kind of break off into their own like little groups, and then they will do, healings on each other. They'll talk about their lives. They'll, do experimentations. They'll do higher meditation practices with each other, and that could go till 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. In general, I'm not that person. I typically like to go to bed around 11 or 12, and then that repeats itself for 9 and 21 days. So basically, each and every day of the 9 and 21 days is 15 hours of meditations, healings, exercises, lectures, with little breaks and little lunch and dinners in between, all for the purpose of spiritually growing and evolving, right? So that's kind of the 21-day spiritual vacation in a nutshell, how it looks. And everyone stays on property. Certain people are camping. Other people are staying in the chakra house. Other people are staying at Airbnbs that are literally right down the street. And all in all, you're going to be looking at spending maybe $2,500 with your plane fare, staying on the property, the event itself, 3-4 meals a day. All of it's going to be covered, and it'll be about $2,500. And so, people save up throughout the whole year. They attend, and they're blown away. So that's kind of the format of the 21-day spiritual vacation. Now, these are some of my lessons and realizations. And as I was reviewing my soul notes, and you're given this book at the beginning of the event to write down all of your insights, your realizations, Scott, Amma Namaste, whatever it is that you feel is necessary. And each day has a certain theme to connect to. Megan, Amma Namaste. And so I was reviewing some of my notes, and I got much more than 21 lessons and realizations, but some of them aren't appropriate to share on a public stream, considering the kind of work that we do. But do not fear. We're going to get into it. So one of the realizations that I had is transformation is possible. So I've been doing pranic healing for the past 15 years. I started it in March of 2004, and I've basically been doing it ever since. I haven't mixed other spiritual schools or spiritual practices or meditation practices. Everything that I do is grounded and based in pranic healing and our Hatha Yoga methodology that was taught to me by my teacher, Grandmaster Chogo Koksui. Now, there are many paths to God, and there are many things that one can do to become a better person and a better soul. I just happen to resonate and connect with pranic healing and our Hatha Yoga. So in my early days of going to retreats, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you. They were miserable. Let me say that again. My retreats were miserable. Why? Because there were so many impurities within my system, physical impurities, emotional impurities, mental impurities, limited beliefs, negative programs, calcified ideas, low self-esteem, low self-image, lack of self-worth. All of these things were going on in my life. And so, yes, when you go to these retreats, the purpose is to get healing. The purpose is to deepen your meditations. The purpose is to remove any and all blockages, obstacles, impediments in the way of you becoming a better person, a better soul. But we all go in with our own karma and our own things that we have to work out. And man, oh man, yes, there were glimpses of hope. There were glimpses of beautiful meditation experiences. There were all these like little pockets throughout the 9 days, because this was my very first 21-day spiritual vacation. And I've done, I think, 4 or 5 9-day spiritual vacations. And they were super, 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 super tough. Like unbelievably tough. And I'm like, why did I even come to this event? What is the purpose? All I do is feel physical pain the whole time. All I feel is emotional pain the whole time. But something told me to go. Something told me to stay. And something told me to keep coming back. So I was like, oh, okay, let's sit down and do another meditation. Okay, let's look at my life again. That's painful, that's sad, that's depressing, that causes me irritability and anger. Okay. All right. Who can I heal, right? Or who can heal me? So a lot of my time was not spent taking advantage of healings and taking advantage of deeper meditation experiences. Most of my time was spent avoiding and running. It was running from the healings. It was running from the meditations. Avani, Namaste, we missed you on the meditation today. So everything, Siana knows. So everything was avoiding, right? So I spent most of my time outside of the ashram where most of the action was happening. I spent most of my time in the hills, by the pond, in my room, avoiding everybody, right? I didn't want to make eye contact with anybody. I didn't want them to get in. I didn't want them to see my pain, my sorrow, my suffering. I just wanted to run away, right? Now, fast forward, and the last time I went to a 9-day retreat was in 2016, and it was smooth as butter. Why? Because I had purified more. I had intensified my meditation practices. But more importantly, I was practicing more service. I was practicing more tithing. And so my huge waves became little tiny hiccups. So my last 9-day spiritual vacation in 2016 was pretty harmonious, pretty good, pretty fun. So this year, I had my 365-day wall calendar. I have it right in front of me. And I wrote down all the retreats and events that I wanted to attend to. And my last big event or retreat for the entire year of 2019 was the 21-day spiritual vacation. I'm like, all right, the previous years I didn't have the time. The previous years I didn't have the money. The previous years I didn't have the willpower to be resourceful enough to make it happen, right? Because if the willpower is there, if the resourcefulness of the person is there, they will find a way to make it happen. So I planned it out, made it happen. And I went, and out of the 21 days, which is more intensive than 9 days, out of the 21 days, I had 2 days of not feeling so well, feeling off. But rather than running, rather than avoiding, rather than trying to escape the spiritual vacation itself, I reached out for healing. I went down by the pond to do purification. I ran up and down the hill to release the disease, congestive stress energies within my system. I was doing the necessary things to get myself unstuck as quickly as possible. Does that make sense? So that was my first realization that transformation is possible. Of where I was, say, 8 years ago, 9 years ago, to where I am now, a huge chasm of transformation. But guess what, guys? Transformation is not easy. Transformation is not easy. It requires a tremendous amount of awareness, understanding, patience, compassion, connection to God. But it is possible. So, realization number 1. Realization number 2, know, remember, practice, master. So Grandmaster Choa Kok Sui has this maxim, if you will: know, remember, practice, master. Know the technique, know the teaching, know the methodology, know whatever. Remember it, meaning like, oh, I learned it and I forgot this part of the protocol. I forgot you do this instead of this. Oh, I forgot the order. I had the order backwards. Okay, so you have to remember what you're being taught. And then thirdly, you have to practice it. And not practice it once or twice, but practice it thousands of times over a period of 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, a lifetime, right? And then you eventually reach a level of mastery of that very thing. Know, remember, practice, master. So, this necklace that you see around my neck, which people are always asking me, hey, where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? Where'd you get that? So it's the Arhatic Yoga cross in the center, which balances the upper, middle, and lower aura. And then a picture of Grandmaster Choa Kok Sui, which I got at a retreat many, many years ago. And then on the opposite side is the Om. The Om. Right? So, know, remember, practice, master. Well, one of the things that I know is about energetic hygiene, is about keeping things energetically clean on myself, my environment, and then the people that I work with, friends, family members, clients, strangers, whoever it is. So, I went up, one of the masters asked, who needs healing? Who has a physical pain, emotional pain? Who needs healing right now? And I'm like, I need healing. And so Master Glenn says, okay, what's your problem? He invites me up. He goes, what's your problem? What do you need healing on? And I said, my shoulder, so much pain in my shoulder. And I do lots of healings. And this pain has been here for months. And I don't know, and it's getting worse and worse and worse over the 21-day spiritual vacation. What do I do? And he's looking at me, not energetically looking at me. He's physically looking at me and he says, take off the necklace? I was like, I know where he's going with this. So I go like this, I take off the necklace, I put it off to the side, and he says, how's the pain? And I said, it went down by at least 50%. He says, it's very congested. 15 years practicing pranic healing, 15 years doing energy hygiene, 15 years of working with subtle things, and the most obvious thing I missed. Know, remember, practice, master. So, funny enough, I was thinking about what you were wearing on your neck. So, funny enough, a friend of mine who's been practicing pranic healing for 16 years, me for 15, him for 16, he looked down at his necklace and he scanned it and he looked at it clairvoyantly and it was super, super, super congested. So he casually just took it off his neck, put it in his lap, and started healing it. And we were both laughing at each other about that, right? Because we're both professional healers and we missed the obvious thing that's directly in front of us. So we knew the teaching, but we weren't remembering the teaching. And if you don't remember the teaching, you can't practice it, therefore you can't master it. Ta-da! And then he did the Master Glenn did some healing on it energetically, and then the pain was pretty much completely gone at that point. Another aspect of know, remember, practice, master. I've always wanted to be able to produce miraculous results for people, not just once or twice, but on a consistent basis. So, in one of the healing sessions, Master Glenn says, okay, who has a phobia, who has an addiction, who has some emotional or mental trauma or challenge that they're working with right now? And obviously most of the people in the room raised their hand. He called a couple people to come up, and he had them whisper it in his ear, like, what are you suffering from? Oh, I'm suffering from this, right? Because we don't want to announce it to the world because that influences the energy. So he whispers the Nora, I'm gonna stay, long time. Whispers the energy or what the trauma was or the challenge was or whatever. And he says, okay, be receptive. He has a crystal, a big crystal. And he goes like this. Okay, how are you? And the person's like, it's gone. It's gone. So something that had been plaguing several people for a minimum of 5 years, 5-second healing, gone. What's that worth? It's priceless. But because the master had been knows the technique, remember the right technique, practice it for a prolonged period of time, was able to master it and produce a miraculous healing like that. So that's the inspiration for me and other professional healers to get to that point, to be able to produce 5-second miraculous healings. And it was very, very humbling in realizing that, yes, I as a person, I as a healer, I as a spiritual being have come a long way in this incarnation, but also recognizing and realizing you don't have it all figured out. Humility, knowing your strengths and knowing your weaknesses. So realizing, wow, I thought I was a really good healer, but I'm not able to produce a miraculous healing in 5 seconds. All right, no remember, practice, master. Back to it. Number three might be one of the biggest ones for me. I mean, these are realizations and lessons, right? So they're invaluable. But this might be one of the biggest ones. So we practice the forgiveness. Mario, I'm going to say we practice the forgiveness meditation every day for 21 days, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I had no idea, zero, how complex and how profound gratitude is. No idea. Because I've heard for many, many years in pranic healing and outside of pranic healing the importance of gratitude. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Forgiveness, forgiveness, forgiveness. Sincerity, sincerity, sincerity. I've heard about all these things. Know, remember, practice, master. Just because I heard it, just because I know about gratitude, forgiveness, sincerity, doesn't mean I'm remembering it deeply and doesn't mean I'm practicing it regularly. Therefore, how can I expect myself to master it? So we had every day, an hour every day. How many people can say every day for 21 days, for an hour, they've practiced gratitude? So it blew my mind. So what's the difference between forgiveness, gratitude, and sincerity? So this is my best understanding to share with you. Forgiveness is wiping the slate clean. Wiping the slate clean. You have a problem with an ex-partner? Forgive. Wipe the slate clean. You have a problem with an ex-business partner? Forgive. Wipe the slate clean. You have a problem with a family member? Forgive. Wipe the slate clean. You have a problem with an ex-boss? Or an ex-employee? Or current boss and current employee? Forgive and wipe the slate clean. That's what I learned about forgiveness. With gratitude, and I practice forgiveness pretty regularly, but obviously there's deeper levels to forgiveness and there's more lessons around forgiveness. Gratitude, what gratitude does is it affirms the positive. So one is wiping the slate clean and the other one is, what are you going to create on your new slate? What are you going to create on your new slate? What are you going to be grateful for and why are you going to be grateful for it? And as you practice gratitude, what you're doing is accelerating what it is, the direction that you're moving in. So if you're looking to heal a relationship, by practicing gratitude, the relationship will heal faster. If you're looking to be more prosperous in your career or your business, gratitude will accelerate that process or accelerate the result. If you're looking to have greater physical or emotional health, practicing gratitude will speed up that process. So that's really important. And then something very interesting happened to me on one of the days of gratitude that dealt with the heart specifically. And I can't go into the whole practice because I don't consider myself authorized to do that for you guys, but I'm planting seeds in your consciousness that will hopefully improve the quality of your life. So, as I'm being aware of my heart, as I'm being aware of things in my life to be grateful for, and as I'm practicing the technique, remember, practice, master, something dawned on me. Omar, Atma Namaste. Something dawned on me that will forever change the rest of my life. That the ingredient that I was missing in my forgiveness and the ingredient that I was missing in my gratitude as to why I was not feeling it and why I was not connecting with others relative to forgiveness and gratitude was I was missing the secret ingredient of sincerity. Sincerity magnifies the effect of gratitude to a very, very high level. So when I was in my meditation and I was focusing on the heart and I was being aware of the things I'm grateful for, I did my very, very best to tap into sincerity, trustworthiness, genuineness, right? You can look up the word sincerity. And as I was tapping into that energy, I noticed the gratitude within me was growing and growing and growing and growing. And I had such a deep meditation experience, I could barely open my eyes afterwards. And it was like maybe 7 minutes. I've been regularly meditating for 20 years. And I was practicing the gratitude, being aware of the heart, doing the technique. And then when Master Marilag was done with our practice, she said, okay, come back to your body. And I could barely open my eyes because I was so blissed out. I was so still. I was so grateful because the magic ingredient was sincerity, sincerity, sincerity. Changed my life. So hopefully that realization will also benefit you. Right? Because it's like if somebody gave you a gift and you're like, oh, thanks. You're still practicing gratitude. But how are you going to feel and how is the person who gave you the gift going to feel in that exchange? Right? But if they give you a gift and you're like, you look them in the eye, you be aware of your heart and you say, thank you so much for this gift. It means the world to me. How do you feel? And how does the person who gave you the gift feel? Amazing, right? So sincerity is the missing ingredient. I don't know, I think it was mentioned at some point in the first several days of practicing gratitude, and I was lucky enough to remember it, practice it, and have my life transformed. So, number 3, forgiveness, gratitude, and sincerity. Number 4, the Gita, or the Bhagavad Gita. So Master Glenn, in 2016, put together over 50 videos ranging from 5 minutes to I think maybe 25 minutes, talking about the famous Hindu text, sacred text, called the Bhagavad Gita, which means the Song of God. And in this story, it's the story of Lord Krishna and Arjuna, the greatest archer of all time, having a discourse on the battlefield where Arjuna has to make the decision of following out his duty, following out his dharma as a warrior, as an archer, and killing people of the opposing army. But some of the people that are on the opposing army are friends, relatives, and spiritual teachers. And he has to make the choice, do I follow my duty or do I put down my bow and arrow and withdraw? And so it's basically 18 chapters the bigger story. 18 chapters of Lord Krishna and Arjuna on the battlefield having a discourse about the different paths to God and the different ways of why we do what we do. And I'm going to be honest with you, it was very challenging to follow at some parts of the 18 chapters that we covered. But then there were some super rich, super deep, super profound insights about the nature of God and our relationship to God. This text is over 5,000 years old, and it has been passed down from generation to generation to generation. You can buy copies of it where it'll have the literal translation and then commentary. The one that was recommended for us to start with is Living the Gita by Sat Chit Ananda. Living the Gita by Sat Chit Ananda, and you can get it either on Kindle or you can buy a hard copy, physical copy on Amazon. Either one, I think it's like $8 or $9. And it would take you a lifetime and lifetimes to master the teachings, but it basically talks about the different kinds of yoga and the different paths of God and why certain people are attracted to certain paths versus others. Some people are attracted to the path of Hatha Yoga. Other people are attracted to the path of Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. They're attracted to different paths for different reasons and different purposes. But at the end of the day, Lord Krishna provides the understanding of the higher truths of nature and of God that enables Arjuna to make the right decision and to alleviate his suffering. And that's the purpose of having a teacher. That's the purpose of having a guru. A guru means dispeller of darkness. So as we learn from spiritual teachers, every time they think, every time they speak, every time they act towards us, they're dispelling darkness and ignorance within ourselves so we can quote unquote see the light or see the higher levels of truth. It's beautiful. So I highly recommend picking up a copy of the Bhagavad Gita. That's number 4. Realization number 5. Coaching creates miracles. Coaching creates miracles. So, I've been a professional energy healer for 15 years, and I was doing coaching. I've been doing coaching with healing clients for about 6 years. And this started when I was dating a girl who was enrolled in a coaching program, and it was called IPEC. You can look it up online, IPEC, and the founder of IPEC is a psychotherapist out of New Jersey, and he wrote a book called Energy Leadership. And he connects coaching to the 7 chakras. And I was like, whoa, I've never seen a coaching program connect coaching to the 7 chakras. This is going to be amazing. And I thoroughly enjoyed the book, and I thoroughly enjoyed being the guinea pig for my girlfriend at the time as she was going through her coaching program, and she would coach me, and something dawned on me. So there's a practice in pranic healing or hatha yoga called inner reflection and firm resolution. I'm not going to go into the technique, but basically it's looking at your life, where you went wrong, erasing it, and then strengthening what you could have done better. So you're improving yourself. So it's a way to develop awareness. Without awareness, there's no inner transformation, as Grandmaster Chola Koksui would say, right? So I thought to myself, I've been doing inner reflection and firm resolution for, 9 years up to this point, developing awareness, transforming myself from the inside out. And then when she started coaching me, she was able to shine light on blind spots in my life that I had no awareness of. 0. Within a matter of 30 minutes. Right then and there, I said to myself, I am going to integrate coaching with healing. Because in the world of energy healing, in the world of pranic healing, somebody says, okay, I have lower back pain. Okay, great. Let's sit down and we'll do the protocol for lower back pain. Oh, I have stress. Great. Let's do the protocol for stress. Oh, I have an addiction to something. I have a phobia of something. Great. Let's do a protocol for addiction. Let's do a protocol for the phobia. But what I realize is what's missing most of the time is helping the person get understanding as to how they got to where they are, why they're stuck, and the new thinking that they need to have in order to move forward. Because what happens in most times with healing is the healer will tell the client, will tell the patient, do this, don't do this. Do this, don't do this. Do this, don't do this. Sometimes the patients follow, sometimes the patients don't follow. Why? Because if you tell somebody to do something or to not do something, it's not their idea. They don't own it. They don't embrace it. It's the idea of the coach. It's the idea of the healer. It's the idea of the therapist. It's the idea of the mentor. It's the idea of the advisor, right? But if you ask a question in a certain sequence, what happens is you get buy-in. You get buy-in. And then the person takes that idea and makes it their own. And when they make it their own idea, they can transform. So you can tell somebody to work out, or you can ask them questions as to why aren't they working out, what would be the benefits of working out, and having them sell themselves on working out, or having better relationships, or earning more money, or advancing their career, or starting their own business, right? A good coach will never tell somebody what to do. A good coach will help the person get clarity as to why they are the way they are, why they are at that part of their life, and then coach them to higher levels of realization and understanding. Just like in the Bhagavad Gita, where Lord Krishna is coaching Arjuna so he can have a higher level of understanding and realization, right? So I had two experience, well, more than, but two that come to mind of coaching people who were stuck, who had been around pranic healing. One in particular had been around pranic healing for over 10 years and very knowledgeable about pranic healing, very knowledgeable about the methodology of what we do, very knowledgeable about the healing protocols, right? Knows it backwards and forwards on some level. But the cup was full. The listening was no longer there. So we did some coaching, and she had the realization that she has to empty her cup, make her cup bigger, and then be ready for a downpour of higher levels of truth, higher levels of understanding, higher levels of realization. And the retreat for her was amazing. And then another person was having blockages around family stuff, health stuff. We did some coaching, and the realization kicked in. And then when you have the realization, now you know what to heal specifically. Great, let's work on this. Instead of this ethereal, fuzzy, not very clear, what do I do? Going right to the heart of the matter. So when you take coaching, Gretchen, Namaste, and you combine it with healing, you have super fast transformation. And I've noticed that consistently and persistently. So that was a big nugget and realization for me. Number 5. Number 6, still working on this, but I have the realization of it. Letting go of control. Letting go of control. What does that mean? So when we sit and we do our meditation practices, whether it's inside pranic healing or outside pranic healing, whether it's at the 9 or 21 day spiritual vacation, whether it's at your home, one's ability to let go allows them to go much, much higher in the inner world. Allows them to have much greater inner world experiences. But if you're always trying to control everything, you are locked into a limited viewpoint and a limited belief system and a limited way of being. And I realized there was a tendency for me wanting to control a relationship. Some of you may know that I've been seeing somebody. If you've been following me on Facebook at all, you've seen that the dynamic of that relationship has recently changed. It actually changed over the 21-day spiritual vacation. And it changed in a way that was not, that I didn't consider positive, right? I love this person. I still love this person tremendously. And my tendency is to control the situation, right? How can I control the situation to get what I need, want, desire? Versus how can I understand the situation better, go higher, see different viewpoints, alleviate my suffering, and move forward. Same thing with my son. I have certain belief systems around my son that I want to control the situation. I want him to show up in a certain way, and I don't want him to show up in other ways. So it's controlling him. My ex-wife, I want her to show up in certain ways, and I want her to not show up in other ways. So controlling her. Conversations with other people. I noticed, because when you're at the 21-day spiritual vacation, when you're in Bovina, New York, at the MCKS Meditation Center, there is so much energy there. Everything within you gets magnified. The good and the not so good. So if you have a tendency to be impatient, your impatience is going to come out. If you have a tendency to anger quickly, your anger will come out. If you have a tendency to be selfish and self-centered, that tendency will come out. And so I realized at certain moments throughout the retreat, when people would come and talk to me, I realized my impatience was getting stirred up. I'm like, will this person just get to the point? Please just get to the point. We don't have to have a 15-minute conversation and go round and around and around and around and around. Just get to the point. Say what you need to say. Ask the question you need to ask. Just get to the point. Why are you wasting my time? Right? All of these little programs are running in the background as I'm listening to somebody. But I was lucky enough to catch myself most of the time. I'll go, Christian, you're being impatient right now. You're not listening to this person. You're not holding space for this person. Shut your mental body off for a minute. Calm your emotional body and just be here. I was like, okay. And then guess what? The agitation went away. Funny enough, the person was able to make their point, and then they go about their next task. They go to the next meditation, next activity we're doing. They do some service, they wash some dishes, they cook some food, or we change the subject to something more interesting, right? It's like, very interesting. Okay. So letting go of control in the inner world with my spiritual practice and with meditation, letting go of control of trying to manipulate other people to show up a certain way that makes me feel good, that makes me feel safe, that makes me feel whatever, and just letting go. Because at the end of the day, the only thing that we can control are our thoughts, our words, and our actions. That's it, period, end of story. Yes, we can influence others. I can say something that influences you. I can say something mean that makes you feel bad or angers you. I can also say something loving that makes you feel good and joyful. But at the end of the day, you're ultimately the person choosing what thought you're going to have, what you're going to say, and how you're going to respond to that. Does that make sense? So realizing the only control is my thoughts, my words, and my actions, and not other people. That's a big realization for me, and I'm still working on it. Because we want what we want. We want what we want, how we want it, when we want it. We just want it. It's like, I want this, and I want it now. Susie, namaste. I haven't seen you on the stream in a long time. Does that make sense? So that was my other realization for number 6. Number 7, Google will not be able to provide results for what we do in Bovina and for what we do in our spiritual practice. So what do I mean by that? So we had a homework assignment, a group homework assignment that we had 3 days to research. And the assignment that my group had was in talking about the 12th chakra. Talking about the 12th chakra. So for those of you who have studied the chakra system, you may have heard that there's 7 major chakras. That is not the complete truth. That is simply a level of truth. There are many, 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 many more chakras than 7. So we were asked to talk about the 12th chakra. Well, when you go onto Google and you're trying to find information about the 12th chakra, good luck, because there ain't a lot. And that occurred to me that there are some things in the energy world, in the inner world, that are protected from ever being publicly known. So you've heard the biblical expression, do not throw pearls before swine, right? Swine, from the biblical perspective, relates to people who are dominated by their lower nature. The lower nature of greed, the lower nature of excessive lust, the lower nature of excessive need for power. So those are people who, if you give them priceless teachings, they're going to take those priceless teachings and use them for their own selfish needs and benefits. They don't care who it hurts. Sound familiar of the earlier point I just made? They don't care who it hurts. It's all about me, myself, and I. What can I get, right? And then also, connected to this phrase, I don't have it in front of me, but it's along the lines of, you also don't give pearls to ravenous dogs. Something like that. Dogs in the Bible represent people who are loving with you, people who are loyal to you, but people who are not very intelligent. They cannot understand higher spiritual teachings. So, if you have very high level spiritual teachings, very high level spiritual experiences in your meditations, and you share those with people who are swine, they're going to distort those teachings for their own benefit. If you share those teachings and inner experiences with people who are dogs, they are not going to understand them. So you're wasting your time. So in the researching of the 12th chakra, everything is very mysterious. It's not my work, Susie, the work of my teacher, Grandmaster Cho Koksui. Thank you for, I do the best that I can to represent the information we pass on. So you cannot Google these things, but you can go to the ancient texts, and by reading the ancient texts with awareness, with understanding, with humility, with patience, you're going to be able to piecemeal the higher levels of truths for your own inner transformation and the transformation ultimately of others, which is quite fascinating. So you can go online right now and type in the meaning of the 12th chakra, and most likely you're only going to find teachings and book recommendations by Grandmaster Cho Koksui. Outside of that, you're going to have to practice lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of discernment. Another thing, inner experiences. I've had inner experiences in my meditations over the 21-day spiritual vacation that you don't find anywhere online. Sit down and type it in and go, okay, this was my inner experience. What does it mean? You will find nothing. But we have the opportunity of connecting with master pranic healers who have 25 years of experience and being trained by a great, great teacher. And you say, this was my experience in meditation. What does it mean? This was my experience in meditation. What can I do with that to practically improve my life? And they say this, 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 and this. Priceless. You can't find that on Google. Also, clairvoyant feedback. So you have different kinds of psychic faculties. You have clairvoyance, which is the ability to see subtle energies. You have clairaudience, which is the ability to hear subtle energies. You have clairsentience, which is the ability to feel subtle energies, which is the most reliable and the easiest to train. Sharon, namaste, right? And then there are other psychic abilities, but those are the main ones. And what's fascinating is you meet people at these 21-day retreats and you bring a problem to them that you know very well, and they're able to meet you at that same level of awareness. They're like, oh, so this is going on with you right now. And you're like, how do you know that's what's Lisa, Abba Namaste. You're like, how do you know that was going on with me? And I don't mean general things. I mean very specific things. You're like, wow. And because of their ability to see, because of their ability to tap in, Donna, Abba Namaste, long time. Because of their ability to see, because of their ability to have wisdom, they can give you, not a solution necessarily, but they can give you a higher level of understanding and realization. And with that higher level of understanding and realization, you have more accurate viewpoint, right viewpoint, which alleviates your suffering. Avani says, without a guru, few things never get clear on or learned. Correct. So yes, Google is great for searching many different things. But when it comes to the inner world, Kathy, Abba Namaste, when it comes to psychic phenomenon, when it comes to high-level spiritual practices or experiences, Google is not your source. Your teacher is your source. Does that make sense? I hope it does. So that was lesson 7. Lesson 8. This was actually very interesting. God, there's so many stories I could share with you guys, but this one, we're just covering it really nicely, quickly, lovingly. So one of my realizations was using my ninja power for good rather than evil. So what do I mean by that? So one of my ninja powers is the throat chakra. So the throat chakra deals with communication. What a shocker. I do these streams all the time. It deals with materialization. It deals with concrete details, right? So people who are researchers have strong throat chakras. People who are project managers have strong throat chakras. People who are in business tend to have strong throat chakras. The throat chakra helps you materialize things. So, Bo, Abba Namaste, long time. I haven't seen you on the stream. Welcome. So, this chakra is super important in the process of materialization. Now, I can use my throat to cut somebody down, to make them feel small, to make them feel inferior, to make them feel inadequate, to make them feel stupid, right? The silver tongue, right? It's like a sword that you can use to cut somebody down. Now, here's the interesting thing. Whatever you do to another person, because of the boomerang effect, you're doing to yourself many times. So if I cut somebody down, I'm cutting myself down many times. If I criticize somebody, I'm criticizing myself many times. The effect, the energy coming back to me, right? Or, conversely, I can use my throat chakra for good. I can use my throat chakra, as Grandmaster Cho Koksui says, you can use your words to heal, to prosper, or to bless. You can use your words to heal, to prosper, or to bless. So, I'm at the airport. The 21-day spiritual vacation is over. And I'm standing in line. And there are so many people in line. It's Newark Airport. Because they recently, in the past 6 months, they renovated the Newark Airport. It's beautiful. They really they went all out. New shops, nice shops, bright shops. All these healthy options for clothes, for food. Newark really went after it. And I like Newark. I've always liked the Newark Airport. It's close, it's convenient. It's 10 times better than going to JFK or LaGuardia in New York. I can't even tell you how much better. And it's a little bit more expensive, but it's well worth the cost. So, there's all these people, a sea of people trying to get on the terminals. Philip, Abba Namaste, thank you so much, by the way, for sharing the streams, for sharing the posts, for sharing the pictures. I appreciate the support, always. So, I see this little boy who's been crying, like hysterical. He just can't seem to get it under control. His emotional body is all over the place. He's maybe 4 years old at the oldest. This little Mexican boy, super cute. Then I thought to myself, okay, I know how to heal. I've been trained on how to do it. I've been doing it for 15 years. And my ninja power is my throat. So I could use it for good or I could use it for evil. Let me experiment. So I whisper, so it's not silent and it's not super loud. I whisper, Om Mani Padme Hum. Right? For those of you who've studied Grandmaster Chogo Kuksui's teachings, Om Mani Padme Hum is the mantra of compassion and mercy. And when you say that with reverence and with understanding, it produces a soothing, calming, healing effect within a certain radius. Am I going too fast? Let me know. So this little boy was suffering. He was anxious. He was stressed out. He's probably overwhelmed by the thousands of people that are in line at the airport. So I just put my awareness gently on him, not with a lot of intensity, and I just whispered 3 times, Om Mani Padme Hum. And then he stopped crying completely. And he didn't cry for the rest of the time that I was within his vicinity. And I thought, wow, what else could I be doing with my throat? How else can I be helping, serving, healing, prospering, blessing, right? Again, it's not me. It's a skill that has been developed over many, many lifetimes that I happen to be a conduit for those energies to pass through. There's other people, their ninja power is making money. There's other people, their ninja power is clairvoyance, the ability to see the inner world. There's other people's ninja power is that they're super loving and super giving. Like huge hearts of gold. Like I look at those people, the people who just have hearts of gold, and I'm like, oh, that would be awesome. Right? So I don't want to say enviousness, but yeah, there's probably a level of enviousness, maybe even jealousy. I don't know. I haven't looked that deep into it. Of like, wow, I'd love to have a heart like that. That would be awesome. Right? It's not my ninja power. It's not it's not the ability and skills that I came into this incarnation with that I developed from previous incarnations. So I'm working on it. I'm working on opening my heart, activating my heart, being more loving. I'm working on it. Believe me, I'm working on it. I need to start practicing it with myself more. So using my ninja power is what I had a greater realization of. So that's number, what are we at? Number 9. No, number 8. Number 9. One of the masters said this in class, and I think it was after the 9-day retreat, and it hit me like a ton of bricks, like super hard, which is funny that I just said what I said, and now I'm about to say this. So number 9 is June, Namaste, our Hatha Yogi photographer. Number 9, give me the strength to love. That sentence or sutra, I could probably spend the rest of my life, left of my right, the rest of my life unpacking and understanding that on a deeper level. Like, give me the strength. What is that? Give me the strength to love? Are you kidding me? Like, because I don't consider strength to be love, right? Like strength is power. Strength is will. Strength is making it happen. Strength is pushing through resistance. Strength is crushing the competition. It's not strength isn't like there's no strength connected to love. But the more I think about it, the more I tap into it, the more people I think about in my life who are loving, I'm like, those people are super strong. Oh, admiration, not jealousy. Thanks, Valentina. Admiration. Ah, yes. It's actually a good point. So I think about the people in my life who are loving from the heart, like, dare I say, unconditional loving. And I'm like, whoa. Like, they are super strong people. Like, to get up at 2 o'clock in the morning to heal somebody who's in pain, or to stay up to 4 o'clock in the morning and do 3 hours of nonstop healing, that takes a lot of love, and that's a lot of strength. to handle the arrows of other people, the judgment, the criticism, the defamation, Marianne, namaste, of other people. That's a big deal. That requires a lot of strength and a lot of love. And I'm like, whoa. The sacrifices that my father made to support me and my two older brothers, that was from love, and that's a lot of strength. So give me the strength to love was very, very insightful. And I've always been a hopeless romantic at heart since I don't know, 4 or 5 years old. I was the guy that bought the flowers, bought the candy, wrote the poetry. If you guys ever tell anyone about this, I swear. But I was the hopeless romantic as a kid, as a teenager, even into my mid-20s, around that period of time, and then it stopped. I shut it down because I felt constantly exposed and constantly rejected, and it was too painful to deal with, right? I didn't have the strength to keep loving. So I closed that part of myself off. And I mean, I was even the kid that like did the Valentine's Day stuff, like, oh, that's a cute girl. And I didn't do it with all the girls. I just was like that one cute girl that I liked in class, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, 4th grade, freshman year. I would like write the note out, and it would be like thoughtful, it would be loving, it would be expressive, right? Throat chakra, expression. It'd be expressive, don't be ashamed. Thank you. Thanks, Amanda. And so I was like, ugh. And then I would give that love letter, or it was always like multiple things, like the love letter, the candy. I don't know if I did flowers when I was younger. I did flowers as a teenager. And I would give that thing, and it would just be like, oh, thanks. It would be like thrown in with all the other cards, all the other candy, all the other whatever. And I was like, man, that sucks. Because what? I'm wanting to control the situation. I'm wanting to control the outcome. I do something for you, and then you do something for me. Well, that's not unconditional love, is it? Right? But the people who can love, the people who can give, the people who can serve, and they could care less if the other person reciprocates, that takes a lot of strength. That's pretty high level. Even now, as a 39-year-old man who's been healing people for 15 years and done thousands of hours of inner work, I'm like, I'm not there yet, right? So, one of the beliefs, and this is part of my realizations around this one, which this is realization 9, part of my realization was that my false belief, my limiting belief, and I got this at the 21 day, was the more I love somebody, that could be my son, that could be my wife at the time, that could be my recent partner that things happened with, that my realization is the more I love somebody, the more I care for somebody, the more I give to somebody, like my programming as a little kid, that person will leave me. So the more I commit, the greater the likelihood or chance of that person leaving me. So that was my false belief. That was my realization on the 21-day spiritual vacation, which if that is your belief, think about how that runs your life. Right? That's intense. Those limiting beliefs are playing like a record in the back of your subconscious mind, which is guiding that's my viewpoint, right? So it's guiding my thoughts, my speech, my actions, my livelihood, who I connect with, who I don't connect with. It's like, good Lord. So having that realization of I need to erase that. I need to get rid of that. I need to love for the sake of loving. Love because it's the right thing to do. Love because because loving is a strength, right? Which is interesting because as a Gemini, I incarnated into this body as a Gemini. One of the ninja powers of Geminis is love. I remember one of the masters in pranic healing was talking about that, because Gemini is an air sign, and the strength and weaknesses of the Geminis on a physical level is the arms, and the arms are an extension of the heart. So air is also heart related. Kind of a side note, but so that was a big aha for me of like, whoa, like the more I love somebody, the greater the likelihood of them leaving me. So it's like, I don't want to love my son too much because he might leave me. But it's like, what seeds have I been sowing in the relationship with my son all of these years? What seeds have I been sowing in the relationships of the people that I've intimately connected with, intimate partners, girlfriends, ex-wife, right? So that was a big, like, ugh. Again, realizations aren't always warm and fuzzy, and I think that's a big reason why people avoid realizations. Because as you have the realization, that means you have to change. Because the cognitive dissonance between where you were and the realization you've had is now so big that you have to change or you'll be miserable. So here we are. So that's number 9. Number 10, service. Service was a big aha for me. Now you might be saying, well, wait a minute. Don't you talk about service? Doesn't pranic healing talk about service? Isn't there, like, when you become an arhatic yogi, you're supposed to do 3 hours of service per week? Yeah, absolutely. 100%, without doubt. But in all the years that I've attended the 9-day spiritual vacation, it was all about me, myself, and I. It was about my meditations. It was about my healing process. It was about what answer can I get from the masters that will directly and only benefit my life. Harita Namaste, right? It was all about me. Then, this 21-day spiritual vacation, it wasn't all about me because my life wasn't falling apart. I wasn't suffering. My heart was more open, more activated. I was able to take eyes off of myself, open up my periphery, open up my viewpoint, and look at other people and be like, wow, so-and-so is suffering physically right now. What can I do to help them? So-and-so is suffering emotionally right now. What can I do to help them? So-and-so simply needs somebody to listen to them. I'll listen to that person right now. And I look at, there's a pranic healer and arhatic yogi over, I think, 21 years at this point, Louisa Wendler. Everybody who has been, Donna, can I heal myself? Yes, you absolutely can heal yourself. If you learn level 1, basic pranic healing, which is a Saturday and Sunday, 16 hours, by the end of the 16 hours, you'll be able to heal yourself. And as you take more classes, you'll be able to heal more complicated things faster. And then you'll be able to heal other people with more complicated things faster. So, Louisa Wendler has been a pranic healer for 21 years, from Colombia originally, and she has shown up consistently and persistently every single time I've seen this woman. All the classes I've attended, all the retreats that I've attended, all the healing clinics and meditation nights, all the little, activities of parties and birthdays and this and that. I've always seen Louisa there showing up and being of service. Helping people, healing people, guiding people. Always. I've never once heard her ask for anything ever. Ever. She is an embodiment of karma yoga. She is an embodiment of service. You have the masters, Master Glenn, Master Marilag, and the other masters in pranic healing. They are always healing, they are always teaching, they are always on for other people. Unbelievable. They've been doing it for 25 years. Think about that for a second. There's no downtime for them. When they're running a retreat, they're on 24/7. But here's the interesting thing. When they're not running a retreat, they're on 24/7 because they're writing a book. They're creating another workshop or seminar, online or offline. They're flying to some country to lead something, to teach a class, a higher level class. They're taking care of the responsibilities of their family, the mental responsibilities, the emotional responsibilities, the physical responsibilities, the financial responsibilities. They are embodiments of service. And so I just had a greater realization about service. And I would start observing the advanced practitioners, the senior people who have been around even longer than me, and I'm like, I know what he's doing right now. He's doing service. You don't get it. You're like, oh, he's just doing that. He's, whatever. He's just doing that right now for his own benefit, right? Because we're thinking from our own viewpoint. So if my viewpoint is everything I do is for my benefit, when I look at other people, I'm like, well, the reason he's doing that is for his benefit. Nope. As my heart is open more, I take my eyes off myself, I'm able to look at other people, and I'm able to see that they're taking their eyes off of themselves. Another lesson in realization. Number 10. Number 11. This was a huge one. Huge one. Keep in mind, guys, I'm going through these realizations quickly. And then in Dhyana, Namaste, I'm going through these quickly, but they're huge. Like, you could write books about one of these things. Anyways. So the Atma Namaste to self and to others. So every time you guys hear me start a stream and end a stream, what do we talk about? Or what do I say? Put my hands on my heart. I say Atma Namaste. Atma means the higher soul. Namaste means salutation, greetings, recognition of. So as I say Atma Namaste, I'm saying my higher soul is recognizing, honoring, and saluting your higher soul, right? Like a higher level of a greeting. It's more powerful, it's more intimate, it's more profound than just saying, hey, what's up, right? And so one of the practices that we had during the 21-day spiritual vacation is getting out our phones, because we didn't have mirrors, and everyone has their phone, even in a spiritual retreat. And we were asked to turn on our camera, flip the view, so we could see our face in real time, like a mirror. And the assignment was to look at our eyes and to say Atma Namaste. Look at our eyes and say Atma Namaste. Look at our eyes and say Atma Namaste. Why? Because the eyes are the windows to and of the soul. So when you look at a mirror, I'm thinking about this like back in the day when they didn't have mirrors. Did they just do it with blocks of ice and like, what is it? Reflections on the... I guess you could have done it with reflections. That's where Narcissus came from, right? He was like looking at a reflection of himself in the mirror, in the water, and he like fell in love with himself and he fell into the water and drowned. Narcissus, emotional body, water. Anyways, so... And what I noticed for myself and what the masters noticed for everybody else is how unbelievably difficult it was for people to look at themselves in the eye and to recognize the beauty, the holiness, the divinity within themselves. Think about that. And I had the realization of like, wow, I'm always there for my clients, showing up for them, healing them, supporting them, doing whatever it is that I can to help them move their lives forward. And I'm like, I'm not doing that for myself. Now, I'm kind of exaggerating a little bit. I do self-care. I do love myself. But there's levels of loving yourself, right? There's levels of self-love, levels of self-care, levels of self-worth, levels of self-respect, levels of self-understanding, right? There's levels of it. And as I'm looking at myself in my own reflection, I'm like, come on, man, like, love yourself. What are you doing? Come on. Like, I could feel resistance to loving myself. It's pretty crazy when you think about it. So that was my experience just doing Atma Namaste with myself. Then, at the end of the 21-day spiritual vacation, we put our hands on our heart and we line up a row of one people and then a second row, and then these people are looking at each other. and we do Atma Namaste with one another. This is a practice that we do in pranic healing. Now, as with anything in pranic healing in our Hatha Yoga, there's levels of truth and there's levels of how high you can practice Atma Namaste. So I put my hands on my heart, pat Atma Namaste. I put my hands on my heart, I make eye contact with somebody, they put their hands on their heart, they make eye contact with me, and then we're being led by one of the masters of practicing Atma Namaste and the other levels. And I was immediately able to connect with the pain and suffering and sadness of certain practitioners. These are people who are regularly meditating, regularly healing, regularly being of service to humanity in their own special, unique way, and they're suffering so much inside, right? And it was like, wow, that develops a lot of compassion within me. Like my fellow brothers and sisters on the path, connecting to the energy now, are suffering, right? It's like, wow, they're suffering. That's intense. So I'm like, okay, just send them love. Be there. Hold space. Then there are other people I was doing Atma Namaste with that I couldn't stop laughing, that I felt their joy, their beauty, their excitement about life. And the funny thing is, some of those people don't show it physically. You get what I'm saying? You look at them physically and you're like, is that person all right? Is that person having a good time? Is that person enjoying the retreat? They seem to be kind of like, whatever. But then you do the Atma Namaste and you connect with them energetically and you're like, whoa, this person's super jacked up. They're super excited. They're super happy. That's intense. But externally you're like, oh, they're kind of reserved. Interesting. So that was a beautiful experience, the Atma Namaste, that I am going to start practicing that more often for myself, of being like, hey, you're a divine child of God. You're a being of light, love, and power. You're worthy of great things in life. You got this. You got this. You got this. And constantly reminding myself, not from a point of negative pride, not from a point of like inflating my ego, but from the perspective of recognizing how far I've come. I'm a good person. I'm not a perfect person. Nobody's a perfect person. But I'm a good person and I'm consistently getting better. Every day. Had to move that. So that was my 11. 12. Number 12. Healings from others. Super beautiful. Super beautiful. I was like, there's a saying in Bovina that if something has to come out, have it come out in Bovina. If you're going to purge, purge in Bovina. If you're going to have a bad day, have a bad day in Bovina. If you're going to lose your mind, if you're going to get bad news, get it in Bovina. Why? Because there's so much energy there that it gets it out quickly, and then you can get healing quickly and you can move your life forward quickly. Right? So the news that I got about the dynamic of my relationship changing was not warm, was not funny, was not fuzzy, was not what I wanted to hear, was not what I wanted to experience, was not something that I want to look at, right? Because everything goes back to the self. I was like, ugh. So I went to one of the advanced practitioners who I love dearly, and I said, can I get healing on this? And it was so funny because your intentions, I've noticed anyways, get fulfilled very quickly. So I went into town, and then as I'm coming back from town, because I had to get cell phone reception, as I'm coming back from town to Bovina, to the ashram, I had this intention of like, okay, I need to get healing from this person, and if this person's not available, I'll get healing from this person. And if that person's not available, I'll get healing from this person. So as I'm driving up in the car, I park the car, I'm walking to some spot on the property, and those three people are all standing next to each other. So I was like, sweet, I get all the support that I need. And so I pulled one of them aside and I said, can I get healing? Like now. He's like, yeah. Meet me over here 5 minutes. We'll do healing. And as I was getting counsel from one of my other teachers, mentors, healers, that she said, she goes, you need to cry. And I'm like, whatever. I don't need to cry. I'm not crying. Nope. Not going to happen. I don't need to cry. Crying is not for sissies, because I'm a little bit beyond that. Abba namaste. You caught me definitely late. We're halfway through the list, so you're going to have to review the replay. So I'm like, I don't have to cry. And I didn't even really feel like I had to cry. Lack of awareness. So he starts, we start talking. I tell him the situation. He starts doing healing on me. Starts giving me some insights, giving me some awareness, giving me some understanding. And then all of a sudden, I'm like on my knees. I'm crying. I'm purging. I feel so horrible. Feel like a failure. Feel like I screwed up again. All of these programs and stuff is like spinning around in my mental body, spinning around in my emotional body. And I'm just being super cathartic. And I don't have a problem crying in front of people, like at all. So there's people getting healing over here. There's people having conversations over here. There's people that are drinking coffee and just doing whatever. There's people filling out their soul notes. They're doing whatever they're doing, right? Why does this happen again? What am I not learning? Is there a possibility to save it? What can I do? How can I do it? Right? All these things are coming up for me. And he's like, it's okay. And he's doing healing. And he's like, okay. Let's go up. Meaning go up. Let's go higher. Like, let's not stay down in the mire. Let's not stay stuck. I'm like, okay. But he's like supporting me. It's okay to cry. It's okay to let it go. Because he was the one that was said, it's okay to cry. Because I was like, somebody told me to cry and I don't feel like crying. So can we just get this healing over with? And he's smiling. He's like, yeah, we'll get this healing over with. And he's healing me without a crystal. Powerful healer. And he's like, we'll get this over with. Crying hysterically, right? And then feel like $1 million. 20 minutes later, feel like $1 million. Much greater perspective, right? So, stuff's still coming out. More stuff is still coming out. But the healing is done. I'm feeling normalized. But because I want to understand more, I meet up with one of my other friends, known him for many, many years. He's like, wow, you've come a long way. You have come a really long way from where you were. Because he used to do healings on me secretively. The masters would assign him, hey, work on Christian. And he would do secretive healings. I never knew this. He would do them for years. Heal me without knowing. So that goes back to service. It's a strength to love. Or it's loving is strong. Or what did I put? See, I'm not used to working with these things, so I'm still in the process. Give me the strength to love. So this person has a lot of strength to love. We all need to cry and heal. Aww. Thanks, Amena. I needed someone to support me on this one. So he did two additional healings, and he says, if you need more healing, let me know. And it was like, and his healings really helped. It really smoothed out my energy. It gave me better perspective. It allowed me to move forward better. Maybe not entirely, but better. And to go to the next level of my growth and development. And to become a better person and a better soul. More healings. Mass healings. I don't mean Catholic Mass. I mean mass healings from the masters. Healing us all at the same time. And their healings are super powerful. And super thorough. They're like, okay, we're going to do healing. And it's like a 15 or 20 minute healing. But they're doing psychotherapy healing. They're doing cellular healing. They're doing subconscious healing. They're doing body sculpting. They're doing generational healing. You're like, how many protocols can you squeeze into a 20-minute period on multiple people? But you don't feel like it's multiple people. You feel like you're the only one getting the healing. All of their love and their attention and abilities are directed right at you because they're so powerful. And you're just like, all the mass healings that both of the masters performed, Master Glenn and Master Marilag, I'm like, I don't know if you guys were on my Instagram and saw the face mask that we did, the chocolate face mask that was blessed by Master Marilag with lots and lots and lots of pink loving energy. So we put that mask on. Somebody just sent me a bunch of photos and I don't know who it was. Put a mask on, and then she did body sculpting to the group for like maybe 15 minutes, and I'm like, she took a picture of it. The master took a picture of my face. I got like chocolate all over my face. I'm completely out, but I'm aware. You get what I'm saying? It's like I'm lucid. I'm aware that my body's getting healed. I'm aware that my body's asleep. I'm aware, but I'm just out. It's super interesting. Amanda says, Harita, you have an etheric, beautiful name. It sounds mystical. Ooh, mystical. I like that. So the mass healing's super powerful. And then a Shakti pot. So what's a Shakti pot? A Shakti pot is a spiritual empowerment given by a teacher to a disciple to expand their consciousness. So, as I was going through my healing process of shifting the dynamic in my relationship, I was sitting down, we were on a break, had my legs crossed. I was doing like the thinking man, you know the thinking man? Like he has his legs crossed, he has his elbow on his knee, and he's activating his throat. Think about it energetically. Think about it. He's activating his throat. And he's thinking, right? And I was like doing this exact same thing. And Master Glenn went up on stage and he looked at me clairvoyantly and physically, and he's like, Christian, what's going on? And I'm like, I'm just thinking. And he says, come on, snap out of it. You have to move forward. And I'm like, what do you mean? And I really was like, what do you mean? I'm just thinking. I'm processing. I'm not stuck. I'm not crying. I'm not curled up in a ball. I'm processing the information I just got. He goes, you can't be stuck in a rut. You have to move forward. I'm like, okay. So I kind of was like, all right. I felt a little like reprimanded, like a child a little bit. And I'm like, I'm a 39-year-old man. I just got reprimanded for pouting or for sulking or whatever I was doing. I was like, all right, how can I shift? How can I? And he could see I was struggling. He could see I wasn't getting it, right? But he realized, he's working. I'm a teacher, compassion. Like I could see almost him processing the energy. So he comes up, he walks off stage, he comes behind me, and he makes a fist like this. And he punches me in the back heart, right in between my scapula, like hard. I was like, that hurt. But then all of a sudden, I felt my back heart expand super big, my front heart expand super big, and then all of my overthinking, overanalyzing just melted away. And I was like God, like I'm super sweaty right now because I'm sharing these things with you guys. And I was like, whoa, okay. I guess I was sulking. I guess I was pouting. I guess I wasn't really thinking through things and having a higher understanding. I was just stuck, right? So I shifted. It was a needed Shakti pot. So the interesting thing about Master Glenn is Master Glenn has given me more Shakti pots than any master in pranic healing. So either him and I have an interesting agreement with one another, or I owe him a tremendous amount back. Because almost every single retreat, Master Glenn has given me a Shakti pot. 9-day retreats, Arhata Yoga retreats, 21-day retreat, almost every single time. I can't think of a time he has not given me some kind of Shakti pot or some kind of spiritual empowerment. Super grateful, priceless. Thank you, Master Glenn, for all of your help along the way. So, let's pull it together, Christian. You're almost done. Keep the oxygen strong. Number 13. I had my most powerful meditation consciously, my most powerful meditation that I've ever had. And like I said earlier, I've been meditating regularly for 20 years. By the way, for those of you who are still logged on watching the live stream, so much gratitude. Thank you for sharing your time with me, your energy with me, allowing this exchange to take place. It means the world to me. So for all of you who are still on, because this is a long stream, I said in the beginning this was going to be a long stream. So keeping my promise. Thanks, Brittany. So, most powerful meditation of my life. So there are different meditations within our Hatha Yoga. So you have pranic healing, which is the healing arm of what Grandmaster Choa Koksui developed. Then you have our Hatha Yoga, which is the meditation and spiritual arm of what Grandmaster Choa Koksui. And there are many meditations within our Hatha Yoga, and there are many levels of our Hatha Yoga, right? So you could go pretty deep, right? So one of the meditations deals with developing awareness. Now, awareness is a yin meditation. Awareness is a yin meditation. So, I was thinking to myself, how powerful could it be? I've been practicing this meditation for 15 years. And it's always been a great meditation, but it's like my perception, my belief, it's a little baby meditation. It's long, but it's a little baby meditation. It's not super intense. It's not super powerful. It's just whatever. It's a little baby meditation. Woo! Man, oh man. Lorena, Abba Namaste. Good to have you back on. Was I mistaken this time? So, before the meditation, there's a little blessing. Not a little blessing. There's a tiny lecture and then a blessing before the meditation. So we're asked to be aware of our crown while Grandmaster Choa Koksui says the simple phrase, Atma, which is the higher soul, wake up. It's even happening now. It's intense. Atma, wake up. So Master Choa is saying this like a mantra with a lot of power, with a lot of intensity, and all of a sudden, and we did this meditation twice? I'm trying to remember if we did it 2 or 3 times over the 21 day. I think we did it 3 times. As we're doing it, my eyes are opening up and tears are flowing down my face. Like pouring down my face. I'm having almost not no emotionality behind it, other than maybe gratitude and appreciation for the teacher, but just tears flowing down my eyes. And then both nostrils, not one, this is a very interesting distinction, both nostrils open up and pour out. Like mucus just flowing out of my nose. Now, you guys know, or you may not, but every 90 minutes, one of your nostrils is closed and the other nostril opens. Every 90 minutes, one opens and one closes. So for both of them to be open at the same time and to both drain just by hearing something is pretty significant. And I remember asking one of the masters about this phenomenon. And I said, why would Grandmaster Choa Koksui saying Atma, wake up, spiritually waking up, why would that affect my physical body? And she was laughing and she goes, well, you're now more open and more receptive to a higher level of initiation. And do you think the teacher is just waking you up on a spiritual level? And I was like, she goes, the teacher is waking you up on a mental level, an emotional level, etheric level, and physical level. The teacher is waking up your vehicles, waking up your bodies. I was like, whoa. Super high level. So that meditation, so that was the start. And then we did the meditation on awareness. And then Master Glenn paused the recording on purpose. So we have an idea roughly how long the meditation is because of the recording. He paused it. and he let us go further and farther than ever before. It took me, after coming out of the meditation and doing physical exercises, blessing, releasing the excess energy, doing all the things that we do in our practices, it took me well over 3 hours to come back into my body. Well over 3 hours. Like I wasn't in my physical body. Like, you could have probably cut off my hand, erase, and I wouldn't have felt it because I wasn't identified with my physical body. And that was my realization that this meditation, when done properly, when done powerfully, when done in the right environment, is extremely profound. So I learned something new that day. I actually learned many new things that day. So that was my most powerful meditation in 20 years. In the sense of, not in what I saw, but in the sense of I couldn't will myself to get back in my body. Like, no matter how much physical exercise I was doing, I couldn't get back in my body. It's like I was outside my body, hovering around, trying to get in my body. Very powerful. Number 14. This will be related to Brittany. Energy is contagious. Contagious? Shush. See, I had to say that. Energy is contagious. So, Brittany, who's on this live stream right now, because she wants to see what I'm going to say about her, her and I were operating the camera. So there's a camcorder that most all the lectures are recorded. That's what a camcorder does at the event. Chris, Abba Namaste, was recorded at the event. So, Chris. So, I was sitting next to Brittany. So when Brittany had to go to the bathroom and that the camera had to be changed, I would take over. If I had to go to the bathroom and the camera had to be changed, she would take over. So we were like the camcorder buddies for the 9 days, because for some crazy reason, Brittany didn't think it was worth it to stay for the 21 days. So she left and regretted it. So let that be a lesson to each and every one of you. Do not leave the retreat. Stay for the whole 21 days. If you're already doing 9 days, what's another few days? So she does the 21 days, or she'll do the 21 days next year. Anyways, but I noticed something very interesting, that we kept making each other laugh. And by us making each other laugh, yeah, exactly. By us making each other laugh, it was making other people laugh, that we would literally find different pockets around the ashram, inside the ashram, outside the ashram, in the main house, outside the main house, near the chakra house, outside the chakra house, all over the property, and we would be laughing about something. Now, I'm not going to embarrass her, because she does enough embarrassing herself, but let's just say it got a little, Marcella, I'm going to it got a little out of hand with how much she was laughing. I'm not going to go into the details, but it got a little out of hand. But what was funny was, we were laughing so hard that people would come up to us to ask us a question about something. You know, hey, can you run this errand? Hey, do you know about this technique? Hey, what's on the schedule for tonight? What are we having for dinner? Whatever it was. And people would come up to us, and we would kind of stop laughing, but the energy of laughter, of enthusiasm, of joy, of giddiness was so strong, so palatable, it would suck people in like a vortex, and then they would be overwhelmed with the giggles. This didn't just happen with, the newer disciples or the newer students. It even happened with one of the masters, Master Marilag. We sucked her in, and she couldn't get out of the vortex of comedy. She was laughing, tears were flowing down her eyes. She wasn't practicing the Atma Wake Up with Master Choa. She was just sucked into the vortex of comedy, and she started crying and laughing and high-fiving. Whenever Master Marilag starts laughing, she inevitably cries almost immediately, like if it's a good chuckle, and then she'll start high-fiving, mostly to push the people away from her so she can gain composure again. But that's one of my highlights of the week, or actually, my highlights of any event is Master Marilag crying with tears down her eyes, because she high-fives, she pushes, she can't get control of her motor skills. It's like the funniest, most enjoyable thing, and I think I figured out how to tap into it So like she has a certain kind of laugh. I tap into the energy of the laugh, and then I do my best with my throat to magnify it, to magnify the energy, and so she starts laughing even more. And then it's just like this huge laugh fest. So laughing with Brittany, it was the most laughter I've ever had for the longest period of time in my entire life. 9 days of almost nonstop laughter. And then we were able to suck in so many people into the vortex of comedy that it made everyone's retreat more fulfilling. Falgunia, but namaste, who will also stay for the 21-day retreat next year. And then there were times throughout the 21-day that I was able to get Master Marilag and get a little comedy going on. So for me, super rewarding, super fulfilling, seeing one of the masters laugh, bringing joy to them because they bring so much joy to so many people all over the world. It's extremely rewarding and fulfilling to give back a little bit. And you know, the humor is not at the expense of other people most of the time. The humor is not this gross, coarse humor. It's like very lighthearted, very fun, very sweet, very playful, very goofy. It's usually the stories of other people sharing their experiences from other retreats and other events, and hey, I'm all about it. I throw myself into the mix, make fun of me, you know, joke with me. I love it. I'm all about it. So energy is contagious. And also negative energy is contagious. So I learned a lesson that when I was purging for the 2 days at the 21-day, I removed myself from the group because when you're purging, you're releasing a lot of disease, congestive stress energies from your solar plexus, which can negatively affect the people around you. Have you ever been around a negative person, a pessimistic person? You can be having a great time, and then all of a sudden they start talking about, you know, a downer thing in their life, like Debbie Downer, which actually SNL did a really funny skit on that. You can look it up on YouTube, Debbie Downer, SNL, super funny. It's funny not because of the skit, it's funny because they got off of the topic of the skit. That's what made it funny. So it was unintentional humor and comedy. So, anyways, so when you're purging, that energy drops the benefits for everybody else. So you kind of like step away a little bit, go do your own thing, stay away from the group. So I recognize that while good energy is contagious, bad energy is also contagious. So out of courtesy to my fellow practitioners, the 2 days that I was purging, I spent most of it by myself. I avoided them, not like the plague. I avoided them. Some people took it personally, but the more advanced practitioners understood he's just purging. He'll get over it. It's nothing personal. Let's heal him. Let's bless him. He'll come back. And I did. So Avani says, Dookie literally translates, Dookie Atma literally translates to sad soul. Yes. So I was keeping my sad energy away from the group. So that was a big lesson for me in realization. Number 15. Dun, dun, dun. You guys will like this one. Time is relative in Bovina. Time is relative in Bovina. Most people that hear about a 9-day retreat, about a 10-day Vipassana, about a 21-day retreat, go, how is that possible? How can you spend 15 hours meditation, healing, lectures? Doesn't it get boring? This is what's interesting. People that I know that have been on 10-day Vipassanas, and 10-day Vipassanas or 10-day retreats are no talking whatsoever. It's complete silence. No talking whatsoever. So you're in a room by yourself, looking at a wall, doing the practice. And most people are driven to insanity the first 2 or 3 days because they're like, so bored. I'm thinking about my childhood. All these negative feelings are coming up. All these negative thoughts are coming up. When is this going to end, right? And then usually around the 5th or 6th day, the person starts to get into the groove, and then it's more joyful. With a pranic healing event, with an Hatha yoga event, especially at the ashram, there's a lot of things to do. There's swimming in the pond, there's running up the hill, there's going to the labyrinth, there's meditating in a group, there's healing in a group, there's healing yourself individually, there's asking questions to the masters, there's watching videos of Grandmaster Cho Koksui talking about very high level spiritual things. There's getting on the shaker machine and shaking your butt. There's service of doing dishes, cleaning the bathroom, all kinds of stuff, right? So it's super, 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 super dynamic most of the time. So it goes by like this, super fast. So I wanted to actually pull out a quote from Einstein, not from the founder of Einstein Bagels, not from Master Marilag, Master Glenn's dog Einstein, but from Albert Einstein. He was asked many, many years ago to explain relativity, and he realized that the common, ordinary, everyday person would find the theory of relativity very complex and very hard to grasp and understand. So he came up with a quote that he presented to a secretary who was kind of giving him a hard time. He says, when you sit with a nice girl for 2 hours, you think it's only a minute. But when you sit on a hot stove for a minute, you think it's 2 hours. That's relativity. Think about that. So when you're having beautiful experiences, you're connecting with interesting people, when you're getting healed of things that you've been carrying around with you for lifetimes, your 9-day retreat goes by like that. Your 21-day retreat goes by like that. But if you're not in the flow of things, if you're not in the process of doing your meditations, in the process of doing your healings, in the process of following the group energy, you're going to have a very boring, miserable, difficult retreat. What do I mean by that? There were certain times in the retreat that I would miss the morning the morning exercises, breathing, and purification. I missed 4 days of the morning exercises, breathing, and purifications. So I wasn't as clean when we would do our meditation practice. So the meditation was much harder to get into because my vibration was lower than the vibration of the group. So I had to struggle my way up to vibrate at the same level of the group. Very, very difficult. Does that make sense? I hope that makes sense. But when you're following the group, when you're following the protocol, when you're following the schedule of the 21-day retreat, it goes by like that. And you're like, that was amazing. That was super rewarding and super fulfilling. Make sense? So time is relative in Bovina. And I remember coming back. Did I say this earlier? I remember coming back from the airport, the Denver International Airport, last night. I was at the airport for 8 hours, and my flight was delayed by 2.5 hours. So I was ready to come home. I got home around 11:30, almost midnight. And I remember, and I've driven all over Denver. I've lived all over Denver, and I've been in this area for about 7 years. And I remember getting picked up from the airport, and I remember the guy driving me home, and I literally didn't know where I was. I knew that area, but I didn't know that I knew that area. Because my energy changed so differently, spending 21 days vibrating super high in a time warp. I come back to Denver and I'm like, where am I? Even when I opened my apartment door and I came into my apartment, I almost didn't recognize my place. A place I've lived at for 2 years, I almost didn't recognize it. So time is relative in life. That was a big nugget for me. Number 16. We're almost getting there, guys. We're almost done. I don't know how long I've been doing this, but I feel like I've been doing this for a long time. Hey, Reba, namaste. Thank you, by the way, for the referral. I appreciate that. Hopefully the person will get back to me and we can transform his life. So number 16, a big one, big nugget, big lesson, big realization. A greater yearning for going up and up and up and up in life, and a bigger yearning to connect to God. This 21-day spiritual vacation really shifted me to the yearning of going up. Because the purpose of all of our meditations is to connect to God. The purpose of all of our intimate, personal, professional relationships is to connect to God. The purpose of anything and everything that we think, do, and say is for the purpose of connecting to God. So the yearning to go up versus the yearning to go out has shifted considerably for me. And I'm super, super, super grateful for that, because with right viewpoint, Ananda, namaste. You're late to the party, girl. We're already at 16. She is a special soul. So the yearning to go up and up and up instead of out shifted considerably for me. And I'm sure that will continue to shift as I grow and evolve and progress on the spiritual path. Beautiful experience, and super grateful for that. I mean, the purpose of why we do anything with the right viewpoint. Yes, right viewpoint is everything. I realized, this might be a side nugget or side lesson, that I realized as certain things came up into my life over the 21-day spiritual vacation, and I was suffering because of those things, I examined not anybody else. What I examined was my viewpoint. And I was like, what's my viewpoint around this? I'm suffering because I have a certain viewpoint that's causing me to suffer. All right, what's a more accurate viewpoint about this situation, about this person, about whatever? And as soon as I had a more accurate viewpoint, my suffering literally disappeared. Like magically, mystically floated into the ethers. I was like, what is going on? So that was a big aha for me that I want to share with you, and I want to share with all of my clients. Right viewpoint alleviates your suffering. If you're suffering, you have wrong viewpoint. So it's simple, right? Know, remember, practice, master. 17, principle 17 of 21, spiritual breadcrumbs from the teacher's table. So many years ago, Master Glenn shared with me a story that whenever he got the chance to be around Grandmaster Choa Kok Sui for a retreat, for an advanced class, for a teacher training, and he would sit and he would meditate and he would have a realization. He would experience something. He would feel something. He would hear something. He would see something. Something would happen. And he says for him, that little experience made the entire year worth it. Sorry guys, I gotta clean my throat for a second. All the sharing making the throat work extra hard. Ooh, hold on a second. I know what I'm gonna do. That's nice. Got myself a LaCroix. I'm sweating through my shirt. I was going to say shirt and shorts at the same time. I'm sweating through my shirt and sweating through my shorts. Like dripping sweat from what we've been sharing. And Susie, Brittany misses you in DC. And I'm busting out a LaCroix, which is always my jam. One of my friends and clients was telling me about something that was in LaCroix. Like cockroach poison or something like that. I looked it up. Wasn't true. And I wasn't going to stop drinking it anyways. Even if there was cockroach poison in it. Whatever. So, so the spiritual breadcrumbs. So we work so hard in our lives serving our friends, serving our family members. We do our 40 hours a week at our job, 50 hours a week at our job, 60 hours a week at our job. We sit down. We do our meditation practices regularly. We do our healing practices on ourselves and others regularly. We do all these things And when we go to a retreat, we're like, oh, I need to get filled up. I've been emptying my cup all year long, and I go to the retreat to get filled up. And if you just get that one spiritual breadcrumb, it makes it totally worth it. So in my soul notes, I wrote not one, but dozens of spiritual breadcrumbs from the teacher's table in my life. And priceless. Like for me, how can I say this without being weird about it? I feel that this 21-day spiritual vacation fulfilled 20 years of desires. So I'm so content and so happy and so grateful for this. Like, this made 20 years of effort worth it. So, what else is there to look forward to? Even higher levels, right? That's nice. Does that make sense? All right. Keeping the energy high. Heart expanded. Crown expanded. 18. This was a big one. This is one that didn't necessarily realize on the 21-day spiritual vacation. It was more of a reminder that when the heart is big, you accept people as they are, and you're able to see them clearly. You accept people as they are, and you're able to see them clearly. So what do I mean by that? So there's an example, and I'm throwing all the men under the bus for this 21-day spiritual vacation insight. So there are a lot of moving parts to make a successful retreat. A lot of moving parts to make a successful retreat. You have people cooking. You have people cleaning the bathrooms. You have people doing grocery runs. You have people restocking things. You have people, you have people doing all kinds of things to keep the event running smoothly, right? So one of the assignments that I was given and then gave myself further was cleaning the men's bathroom. Cleaning the men's bathroom. I realized we didn't have that many men on the retreat, but the men's bathroom was filthy pretty much every single evening. Pee on the floor, toilet paper not being restocked, a lot of filth and clothes hanging everywhere. Like, I was wondering what the hell was going on with my spiritual brothers. Like, what are you guys doing? I know you don't roll like this at home, right? But people have the perception that I paid for this event, I'm not a volunteer, I can make a mess, somebody else will clean it up, right? That's the perception. Sandeep, namaste, which is, whatever, that's their perception. But I realized something very interesting. Years ago, number one, I wouldn't have cleaned the bathroom. Number two, I would have been irritated and angry, like, to the highest degree. Like, I would have called somebody out, like, dude, what the hell are you doing? Clean up the bathroom. Like, I would have been aggressive about it, and I would have blown some people out of the event years ago, like, long time ago, like 8-9 years ago, right? But because my heart's more activated going into the retreat, and my heart continues to get activated while in the retreat, I was able to just see people where they're at. I'm like, you know what? I get it. Like, you paid for the event, you're probably spaced out, you're this, you're that. Like, so I'm seeing the situation clear. I'm not making excuses for them. I'm just going, yeah, all right. You peed on the floor because of this, this, and this. You when you're pouring the salt bowl into the toilet, you missed and poured it all over here. You're not rinsing out the, you're hurrying to get back to the next class. You're hurrying to get to sleep because you want to get up super early in the morning. So you're not cleaning up the soap. You're not cleaning up the toothpaste. You got towels and clothes everywhere because you're trying to make yourself more efficient. So because my heart's more activated, I'm able to meet the person where they're at and understand them and just accept it. Be like, all right, I'm going to sign up for service. I'm going to sign up for cleaning the men's bathroom. Okay, it is what it is, right? And I'm not mad. I'm not resentful. I'm still conscious of like, guys, you gotta get your shit together. Like literally and metaphorically. Like, come on. We're all grown adults. So Master Marilag had a conversation with the men, specifically calling us out, saying we're not cleaning the bathroom. We're leaving the bathroom a mess. It didn't change anything. It still was the same 9 days later, right? How often do they organize the Bovina retreat? So the 9-day and the 21 days once a year. And then they have senior classes from August to October. So basically wintertime, nothing happens. It's not a conducive place to be outside and to do events. The snow gets too high, it's too difficult. So during the winter season, no events take place in Bovina. So it's basically spring, summer, and fall. Yeah, once a year in July. So, and then here was a big insight for me. Oh wait, did I cover that one? I covered that one. Oh, coffee cups everywhere. That was a big thing. Coffee cups were everywhere, like all over the place. You know, you wake up, you got your coffee cup, you know, you help yourself to a hot cup of coffee. You're drinking it throughout your meditations. You're drinking it throughout your exercises and the lectures. We get it. I was doing it all the time. But people are leaving their coffee cups everywhere. They're leaving them in the grass. They're leaving them on a faraway picnic table. So people in the certain house don't have coffee cups. So it's lack of awareness. It's lack of consideration. It's lack of appreciation, right? But again, big heart, you just like, it's where they're at right now. You don't belittle them. You don't put them down. You don't make them feel small. You don't say, are you stupid? You're a grown adult. Bring your coffee cup over to the sink. What are you doing, right? Which it's interesting because certain people who are working on those qualities were doing that, and it didn't work out very well. So that was 18. When the heart is big, you accept people as they are, and you see them clearer. Maybe not 100%, but you see them clearer. 19. This was a huge lesson for me that I actually was like smiling at on the airplane. I was like, I'm growing. I was super excited. And for you, this might be the silliest, most stupid, inconsequential thing that I could bring up over this entire hour and a half talk that we've had on this live stream. Is this. So, I was at the airport for 8 hours. Our flight was 2.5 hours delayed. Not very happy about that. My body only got 4 hours of sleep the night before. We had to get up super early to travel from Bovina to the airport, dropping off 5 people, myself included. The stress of traveling, right? You're picking up people's energy, your energy's being pulled, there's stress energy in the environment. There's just stress everywhere, right? And, coming from this super high spiritual retreat, going to the lower vibrational energies of the everyday, ordinary world, it was a big shift. And then, so all of these factors are contributing to the possibility of being irritated and irritable, right? And being susceptible to negative thoughts and negative emotions. So, I get on the plane. I'm sitting in the middle, so I have a person to the right, person to the left. It's one of the 3 actions. And I have somebody behind me. Now, how do I put this? Oh, and they're making an announcement. Karina, namaste. Good to have you on. We're on number 19 right now of the 21. And she says, so the announcement comes over the screen and says, because of thunderstorms, we're in a line to get approved to take off. So we're like, well, how much longer is that going to take? We're already delayed by 2.5 hours, and now we're on the plane. So what if you got to pee? What if you're hungry? What if you're, whatever, right? So I was like, okay, another opportunity to practice patience, an opportunity to practice gratitude. Like, I had this opportunity to, come back from a beautiful retreat. I'm going back to my safe apartment, all these wonderful things, right? I'm tapping into the energy. I'm trying to practice what I was taught. Know, remember, practice, master. So, there's this woman, Marsha, namaste. There's this woman behind me that's trying to. My perception was she was working on her laptop and hitting the keys really hard. So if you have the seat down or the table down and you have a laptop on it and you're hitting the buttons hard, it's going to be shaking the other person's chair, which is my chair, like that, right? And so I'm like, all right, this isn't going to last forever. Law of cycle, law of change, this isn't going to last forever. But wait a minute. What if she is typing for the next hour? It's a 3.5 hour flight. What if she's typing for the next hour or 2 hours or 3 hours? Wait a minute. My body's super tired, a little irritated. So I was like, okay. So the old Christian would have done one of two things. The old Christian would have done one of two things. One, I would have sucked it up. I would have stuffed my negative emotions and been furious until I got home. Like literally from the moment I make the decision of like, this person is going to go down. And then be furious, but never express it, right? Never express it. Or I would express my irritation and irritability, but all the way on the other side of the spectrum. So no moderation. I either would have stuffed my emotions and been super boiling hot angry until I got home, meaning I'm off the plane, got my luggage, I'm in the Uber, and I'm going home, and I'd still be mad at this woman. Or I would blow up at her, and they would ask me to get off the plane. See, you guys, many of you, I think all of you, except maybe one person on here, Angela, namaste. We're on item number 19, so you're gonna have to watch the replay. But hopefully you still get value. That I would have, when my body got angry or has gotten angry in the past, it's the most terrifying thing you've ever seen. Such a relatable situation. It's the most, and I'm saying this with humility, and I'm saying this with patting myself on the back of where I've come from. I used to be so angry that I would rip the door off of its hinges. There was a time I put my fist through a concrete block. There were times that I put holes in the wall. There were times that I took my laptop and smashed it into a million pieces because of anger. Right? Like, anger you've never seen before. Like, angry that I've had police hold me down and arrest me because of my anger. Right? Not because I was attacking anybody, but because I was a threat because of my anger. Yeah. It's like, I'm thinking about certain times and moments in my life. So, when you talk about anger, like, I can almost guarantee you that you've never seen anger until you've seen me get angry. Like, I'm trying to paint the picture for you guys to show you where I was and how far I've come. Again, so angry that just seeing me from afar is terrifying. Right? And there's a reason as to why that anger was there. It's gone now. The anger's not there. It's like, it's not there even a little bit. So that would have been the other option, right? Stuff it boiling hot till I got home, or I blow up so much that it's like the most overreaction you could have imagined. And they're like, sir, and then they're bringing the cops on, hands behind my back, and they're taking me off the plane, right? Then I'd really be late getting home. So instead, what did I do? And I realized she wasn't typing. I realized she was pushing on the back of the seat to go through the entertainment section, right? And it's like this. And I realized I can healthily express myself to another person and not have it be a big deal. Because I always thought like, I would always like shrink myself because I was scared of being aggressive. And then, Ellen, namaste. And then I was mad at myself for stuffing my emotions and not healthily expressing them. So I was like, so I never liked confrontation because either A, I'd stuff and feel horrible about it and mad at myself, or I would blow up on the person, make them cry, and then I'd feel bad about that too. But I was able to say to this woman, casually turn around, had my earplugs in, had my little eye mask on because I was trying to fall asleep, and I said, excuse me, could you stop doing that, please? And she goes, yeah, of course. And I turned back around, and I was so happy. For me, that's like tremendous growth. I didn't do it out of guilt, out of shame, out of anger, out of whatever. I was able to healthily express myself without feeling like a horrible person. Does that make sense? I was able to ask for what I wanted without feeling like a horrible person. Because here's the thing. Why should I suffer? Why should I tolerate somebody doing this for 10 minutes when I'm trying to get to sleep? Right? Why is that appropriate? I know, it sounds so simple, so insignificant. And then I had another opportunity to practice. My book that was given to me by Master Glenn slid out of my pouch and slid under 2 other chairs. And guess what? I didn't want to go through going under the chairs like some kind of squirrel. So I said to the guy next to me, hey, can you do me a favor? Can you reach under that other chair and grab me that book? I would have never done that before. I would have been super mad and angry and frustrated that I had to like go super out of my way to get the book when it would have been 10 times easier for another person to do it. I know it doesn't sound like a big deal for you. Huge deal for me. Such an achievement. Right words, right tone, right viewpoint. Bam. Thank you, Avani. Nailed it. Now we're on 20. You ready? We're almost done. I think I burned 200 calories just talking. This was a big one for me. Are you realizing a lot of this has to do with the emotional body? The 21-day spiritual vacation has to do with the emotional body for me. Let people in and listen to people. Let people in and listen to people. So what do I mean by that? So I mentioned this a little bit in a stream I did a few days ago, but when I had an opportunity to go to the pond, it was the last day of the 21 day, I had an opportunity to go to the pond in the evening, and as I was walking to the pond, one of the people said, hey, Christian, are you going to the pond? I'd like to go with you. And I'm like, yeah, that's fine. You go to the pond, I'll go to the pond, we'll go to the pond together. And I said, I'm going nude. Are you all right with that? Because I was skinny dipping. It's nighttime. Water was perfect. I'm going for it. And it's dark. You can't see anything. But I was like, are you fine with me doing that? And he goes, yeah. He goes, I'll see you there. I grab my towel. I walk down there, take off all my clothes, go in the water. The water's perfect. Perfect. Beautiful. Right temperature. There's super cold spots in the pond. There's super warm spots in the pond. Can something be super warm without being hot? Think about that. So there's all this like mixture of temperatures in the pond, so you can like move around and have cool experiences. And I'm just doing some blessing, doing some invocation, connecting to the energy, connecting with the beings, connecting with God. Like I'm just having a moment. And then my friend comes, and he had a kind of a challenging retreat. My friend comes and he gets in the water. Now, my tendency is to like cut people off. Like, come on, get to the point in general, right? Like, get to the point. What's your point? What's your story? But I was like, you know what? Keep your heart open. Be quiet. Let him talk. Listen. And so he starts talking, and he starts opening up, and he starts sharing with me some very beautiful things. And he says, I want to let you know, because of the videos that you've put out on YouTube, on your website, on Facebook, that's how I found out about pranic healing. And he goes, I've watched every one of your videos on YouTube, and it has literally changed my life. And I'm so grateful to you for consistently and persistently putting out this content And it's changed my life. And he told me all the different ways that pranic healing has changed his life, has changed his financial life, has changed his physical health, has changed his emotional health and his relationships with people, has helped answer problems that he's been suffering with his entire life. And because I was willing to be quiet and to listen, he was able to give me a beautiful gift that inspired me to keep doing the work that I'm doing, to keep sharing the way that we're sharing right now, and to realize that if I make one video and that one video touches one person, to change their life, it's worth it. And it's beautiful. And it's an honor. But I could have done my old program, my old way of being, and cut this person off and said, I was just going to be in the pond for 10 minutes. I'm going to get out. We'll talk later. Because he wanted to connect. He wanted to talk. He said something so funny to me. He goes, when I saw you walking around Bovina, I was like, I can't believe he's here physically. Right? I was like, I'm not a celebrity. I'm not, I'm just a student of a great teacher. And everything I'm sharing with you is from him. You can grab one of his books, read them, go to one of his classes, get a healing, right? You can transform your life without the need of me. You know what I mean? So it was like, I don't know, it was a weird experience. And I had several other people say to me over the 21 day that because of your videos, I got into pranic healing. And my life is infinitely better because of it. So, that was great. One example of listening and not rushing it. Another friend of mine was sharing stories about his mother. And he is so focused on helping, service, healing, that he doesn't have a lot of people in his life to hold space for him. And I don't mean hold space for him in the sense of healing him. I mean holding space for him, just listening. What's my skill set? Is listening. I'm a very good listener. I'm an active listener with clients. That's why I always have to all right, this person's not a client, this person's a friend. But I still have to practice active listening. So I'm like, all right. And I just listened. And then I asked questions. And then I listened. And then I asked questions. And then I listened. And I asked questions. And I was listening from a sincere place, from a loving space. And that sincerity and love was healing for him. Because again, he doesn't have people holding space for him. So that was really beautiful. That was really wow. That was awesome. Super inspiring. And then I got another gift around holding space and listening that I wasn't expecting. So, friend of mine, we were sitting next to each other most of the 21 day. And she was asking me questions about my life. And she was asking me questions about my relationships. And I didn't know how to handle it. Because a big challenge that I've had most of my life is that I'm always listening to other people, their challenges, their problems, their sorrows, their sufferings, their pain. And very rarely do I have friends or family members who hold space for me. There are people that I do have that hold space for me, but it's way on the other side of the pendulum. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like me doing 99.9% of the talking and them listening, right? Or it's the complete other side that nobody's asking, everyone is talking about themselves and never asking a question for you or about you, getting to know your life, what have you. And this friend was able to have the perfect balance of sharing a little bit about herself, but then going back to what I was talking about, asking questions that would imply that she's listening, that she's going deep, that she cares, that she has concern, that she has awareness. And I'm like, what? And it was so beautiful because I'm like, I think this is a reason why I don't have many friends, is because it's exhausting always listening to people. Like, it's exhausting. Why do you think I charge people, right? I'm charging for my time to listen and to come up with a solution to help that person move their life forward. But friends, it's like, there's got to be a balance of give and take. There's got to be. And I notice most people, because of what they're working on, because of their life situation, because of whatever, there's not a lot of give and take. It's usually take, or it's give, but there's no give and take. That's very rare for the people. I'm developing more relationships right now with people that understand that beautiful balance of give and take, and she's definitely one of them. Mika says, and that's why you make the big bucks, for sure. Exactly. So that was my 20th example. And now for the last one of the 21 lessons and realizations of the 21-day spiritual vacation, which is mentioned in this book, which has been mentioned to me many times by this person. And also it's a mantra that I give to my clients on a consistent basis, is to keep moving forward. A realization that I had around that is the past year and a half, I've been in a holding pattern. I've been stuck. Not stuck in the sense of my life is not fulfilling, my relationships are not fulfilling, but I haven't been stretching myself to go to the next level. The next level in my relationships, meaning going deep versus going broad. I can go broad with anybody. If I want to date 5 girls at the same time and keep it surface level, super easy. Piece of cake. I could do it in my sleep. It doesn't require a lot of energy on my part. But to go deep with somebody, much more difficult, much more challenging, much more stretching of the comfort zone. To go deep into my spiritual practice and stretch myself in the different Arhatic Yoga meditations and the different quote-unquote challenges that Grandmaster Chogo Koksui plants the seeds of in his disciples over his videos, his books, and his courses, to expand my healing practice, helping more people more deeply, rather than just being satisfied with the status quo. Oh, I have my renewals coming in. Oh, I have, my referrals coming in. Everything is hunky-dory, right? I'm like, no, gotta stretch. So I've been in a comfort zone. Megan says, dude, that's deep. That's deep about going deep. That's kind of funny. I like that. I want to save that. So when I was meeting with one of the masters at the 21-day spiritual vacation, I was sharing this with him, Master Glenn. And I was saying, this is what I've been accomplishing over the past year and a half. These are my new goals, my new targets, my new purpose of where I want to go in my life, my relationships, my health, my finances, my spreading of pranic healing or Hatha Yoga, the teachings of our teacher. And I said, I got to get out of my comfort zone. I got to get out of my comfort zone. I got to get out of my comfort zone. And that goes back to the keep moving forward. The example he loves to use is when he was training for an Ironman, but I think he was actually, he was training for an Ironman, and the run was 13 miles. And for him, that's very far. His physical health is not his focus. So he made it his focus for a period of time. So he was training with his 3 sons on doing this triathlon. And the end of it, you have to do a 13-mile run. And right around I think it was mile 9 or 10, he could barely move at all. And his son was running with him, and he says, Dad, if you can't run, walk. Or if you can't run, jog. If you can't jog, walk. And if you can't walk, crawl. But keep moving forward no matter what. Keep moving forward no matter what. So I looked at my life in the soul notes. I examined where I was, and I'm like, life is good. Like life is good. I have a beautiful meditation practice. Clients are getting results. People are referring. People are renewing. Like life is good. Things are good. But I'm in a holding pattern. I'm not really moving bigger plans forward, bigger projects forward. Still haven't written my book. Still haven't traveled the world. Still haven't accomplished my spiritual objectives, right? So it's like, all right, time to expand the comfort zone. Time to stretch the chakras to go to the next level. Time to overcome fear. Time to practice more courage. Time to remove limiting beliefs of what I'm capable of doing and accomplishing. And mind you, I've had some big things happen to me this year. Huge things this year. Things that I wasn't ready for, I wasn't expecting, that have really opened my upper chakras. Of like, that's very interesting. Super grateful. So, that's my last nugget, realization or lesson to you from my 21-day spiritual vacation is keep moving forward. Do not stop. Do not rest. There's an old saying in business that you can rest when you're dead. Because I look at all these people, these advanced practitioners, these senior practitioners, the masters in pranic healing, or people that are the highest level in their fields, that they're constantly learning, constantly growing, constantly stretching, constantly bringing themselves to the next level. Look at Master Ko. He's been doing this work for 31 years. And look what he's doing now. He's doing Twin Hearts meditation in front of 15,000 people. He wasn't doing that 3 years ago. Right? He would have a group of 75 people, come to a talk to do pranic healing. Right? 75 people. Now he's doing it for 15,000 people. Understand that for a second. 15,000 people at an Anthony Robbins event doing Twin Hearts together. Do you realize how much energy is being generated and how much energy is having to be channeled to make it a good, safe experience for each and every person that's at the event? That's huge. If 7 people meditating together, I don't know where that accent came from. If 7 people meditating together generates enough energy of 100 people meditating by themselves, that's 7 people. What about 100 people meditating together? How much energy does that generate? What about 1,000? What about 5,000? What about 15,000 people meditating together? Hello? What kind of energy does that generate? So Master Ko, always stretching himself, taking it to the next level. Master Glenn, Master Marilag, Master Danny, Master Faith, Master Hermes, Master Hector, Master Nona. The masters of pranic healing are always stretching, always taking themselves to the next level. They're never plateauing. They're never satisfied with where they are because there's more people that need help. More people that need healing. More people that need guidance. More people that need encouragement. One of my favorite sayings in pranic healing from one of the masters was, us, the people right now that are on this planet, the adults, we are the nannies for the future saints. We are the nannies for the future saints, meaning there are souls that are coming into physical bodies that are super advanced, that are super old, that are very, very developed souls, but they're in little teeny tiny bodies that they need to be taken care of, nurtured, guided, provided for, so they have the opportunity to unfold their potential and create their possibilities. We are the nannies for the future saints. But if we don't have our act together, if we're selfish, if we're angry, if we're delusional, if we're physically weak, if we're not mentally sharp, how well can we guide the future saints that are going to be running civilization over the next 50, 100 years and beyond, right? Megan says, so excited for Prana Killing and MCO Master Co. for the neophytes. Does that make sense? So keep moving forward. So at the end of the day, if you were to ask me the question, Christian, do you think I should learn pranic healing, learn Arhatic yoga, and then do a 9 or 21 day spiritual vacation? The answer would be unequivocally yes. No hesitation. One of my ex-girlfriends, who's an Arhatic yogi, who I love dearly, we're still friends with each other, she said to me, she was questioning me one time. She was an Arhatic yoga practitioner, but she wasn't attending any of the retreats. And she goes, why do you go to these retreats? Why do you spend thousands of dollars every year to spend a weekend in California or spend a weekend in New Jersey or take these classes? Like, I don't get it. And I'm like, you've taken Arhatic yoga. What don't you get? And she goes, yeah, but it's like, I can just practice Arhatic yoga at home. I can do all the purification, all the meditations, service, tithing, study. I can do it at home. I don't need to go and spend money at a hotel, money on the retreat, sit in a chair all day. I don't need to do that to evolve and to grow. And I go, you're right, you don't have to. I choose to. And she got all huffy. We were dating at the time. She got all huffy and upset, walked out of the room. And I was leaving for a retreat. Part of the reason was I came back from a retreat and she missed me. She wanted to spend some time with me. And then coming back from one retreat, I made the decision to go to another retreat the following weekend. So I was only going to be home for like 3 days. And she was super mad about that. So I went to the retreat. The following year, James, namaste. The following year, she made up her mind to go to the retreat in Oxnard, California. Her first retreat ever. So we go to the retreat. We're sitting next to each other. We're an hour into the retreat. She looks over to me and she goes, now I understand why you go to these. She's known me for 2.5 years up to that point, right? Saw me teach 100 plus classes of meditation, spirituality, energy healing, etc., etc., etc. Was practicing Arhatic yoga for a year, and she didn't get it. But 1 hour at the retreat, she got it. How much more for a 9-day retreat? How much more for a 21-day retreat? Make sense? I waited 10 years to do the 21-day retreat because of lack of money. Like I said earlier, lack of money, lack of time, lack of resourcefulness, lack of will. Now, my plan is to do the 21-day retreat every day for the rest of my life as long as it's taking place, as long as it's happening, outside of any serious serious family obligations. Mexico, we were blessed having our Arhatic on November. Ooh, that's nice. So that's it, guys. This is my longest stream ever in 6 years of doing streams. I've done streams on Periscope. I've done streams on Facebook. I've done streams on Smita, Namaste, on YouTube. This is my longest stream ever, hands down, without a question. So when I post this up on Facebook, I'm going to tag most of the people I can think of who attended the 9-day and 21-day, to share the love. Maybe they'll get more value out of this than other people, and it gets the word out. Super easy. So I am eternally and supremely grateful to Grandmaster Cho Koksui, to Master Marilag, Master Glenn Mendoza for putting on this retreat. Also super grateful to Kenny Ravenstar, who had the idea for the 21-day retreat, which this was one of the few years that he wasn't there. Thanks a lot, Kenny. I don't know what happened. Actually, I do know what happened. Thank you for sharing. Loved it and learned so much. Yay, girl. And that's it. For those of you who are looking for healing, I always finish my streams with this. For those of you looking for healing, looking for transformation, looking to move your life forward, hire me. Let me guide you. Let me help you. Let me coach you and heal you to take you from where you are to where you want to be. 15 years of experience. Luckily, we've been able to produce a lot of miracles in the lives of a lot of people in a lot of different ways. So, go to ChristianRLong.com, click on schedule a consultation, click on schedule a healing, whichever one works. The consultation is free. You'll get value from that. The healing is not. You pay for the healing. But most people, 70+% of people who do one healing with me end up doing a package of sessions because it's profound, because it works, because it's amazing. Amanda, you're very, very welcome. Lots of light, love, and power from God and our teacher, Grandmaster Cho Koksui, into your lives. If you have any other questions, put it in the comment section below. Reach out to me through email at ChristianRLong@gmail. Go to my website, sign up for a session. Send me a private message on Facebook. There are a billion different ways to reach out to people these days. No excuses. I got my board blessed too. Yeah! I learned so much. There's even more stuff I could talk about, but you guys get the point. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. I appreciate you with much love from God, from our teacher, from the great ones, from myself, from my heart to yours. Have a beautiful and amazing week, or evening, I should say. Beautiful, amazing week, and a beautiful and amazing life. This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant. Atma. Namaste. Bye-bye.